Hey folks, Gary here with Paramount. So this is a completely impromptu video. I wasn't planning on shooting this. This particular firearm came across my table today, and a client had ordered this firearm and then had wanted us to put on some additional accessories. And when I first opened this case, I wanted to hate this gun. The more I started looking at it, the more I really liked this thing. I figured I'd share it with you. I'd seen these before, but I hadn't seen one in person, and quite frankly, hadn't planned on ordering one or anything like that. So what we have here is the M&P FPC. I'm assuming that stands for Folding Pistol Carbine. Very nice package that it comes in. We're gonna go over all the features of this, but I also want you to notice that the bag that it comes in, it's actually really nice. Has some additional accessories up here. Right here we have two extended 23 round magazines. Comes with a flush fit 17 round magazine. We'll talk more about that. There's some other things going on in here. Also, just like your standard M&P, it does have different grip sizes that you can adjust on there so that you can adjust that palm swell so that it fits the shooter's hand even that much better. Then I think up here we have a shoulder strap for the bag itself. But I want you to look at this bag. One thing that I really like about this bag is not only is it laid out and you can remove some of that stuff and add your own accessories, but I love the fact that it is extremely nondescript, right? So we can have this in our trucks, our cars. People aren't gonna be the wiser. We can actually carry this around and nobody would actually think that this is an actual firearm. So I want you to take a look at this. Here it is, folks, the FPC. This is how it looks in this folded configuration. And of course, I did add the SIG Romeo 5 and then some Magpul Embus Pro backup sights that the client wanted. This is what it looks like. I have cleared this weapon. And of course, you know it's clear because you can see the chamber right there, and you can actually look all the way through and see the end there. So this is actually a gun that's also very easy to clean as well. I haven't actually pulled out the bolt or looked at that, how that comes out. I'm probably not going to on this video. And I'm gonna show you some of the other features that this comes with. So in the folded configuration, it looks just like this, and this is the charging handle. Right here on the fore end, on the foregrip, we can actually see some M-LOK rail sections. Well, we pull back the charging handle just ever so slightly, and you'll notice a notch that we have right there in that charging handle, and that's how it locks itself into that folded position. So that's something to be aware of. You gotta be aware of not putting any sort of accessories on this side that's gonna interfere with it folding if you wanna keep it in the folded configuration. But let's start from the back. So back here we have a buttstock, and folks, by the way, this is a full 16¼ inch barrel. This is a rifle. So it is not considered a pistol. This is not an SBR or anything like that. So that's good to know, especially with all the nonsense going on. This is a full buttstock. This is not a pistol grip. So back here, we do have a non-adjustable buttstock. So you need to be aware of that. There's some other cool things going on about that. And then folks, look right here. We can see that we have the exact same profile of the M&P pistol. I'm a huge fan of Glocks. Glocks are great, own many of them. But I have always preferred the M&P ergonomics and the grip angle over the Glock. So I have multiple M&Ps around. And what is also cool is these are your standard M&P mags. So all the mags that you already have, if you're already on this platform, number one, are gonna work in this rifle. So that's kind of cool. The other cool thing is if you're already shooting M&P, the controls are gonna feel like you're at home, right? You're gonna be very used to those already. We have the mag release just like we would have on the M&P. A big difference here that I'm actually happy to report is the trigger on this. The first thing that I do with every M&P pistol that I get in is switch out that garbage trigger. M&P have had garbage triggers since the inception of that gun, and the first thing I always do is switch them out with an Apex. This trigger, however, and again, this gun is clear, is so much better. If it will accept a Apex trigger, I haven't delved into that yet, I would still put an Apex on here, but this is a really good, the reset is nice and crisp. The travel is pretty far, but this is a huge improvement over your standard M&P trigger. I don't know what they're doing here. The overall travel on this trigger is a little bit more than your standard M&P, but everything about it feels much better. Back here again, we do have the charging handle. Right here, we do have a bolt catch. So we're just gonna press up on that, and that bolt catch is ambidextrous. So we have it on both sides. Once we pull that charging handle back, we're just going to push that forward. Before I forget, one thing that I thought was really cool about this, especially if you're gonna keep this as a truck gun or home defense gun or a bug out gun, all of which I think this rifle fits those roles really well. So we have our extended mags back here, and folks, check this out. They actually lock into place inside the buttstock. So you can keep one mag in the mag well and then 2 additional mags. And how these release is just like this. You pull up on this side for this to release that one and vice versa. So for instance, if I wanted to release this mag, I'm just gonna pull up, push that, and then now my mag is ready to go and I can actually insert that mag. So basically on this one rifle, we can keep 64 rounds on us at all times. We got 23 in each one of these mags and then 18 up there plus 1, so actually 65 rounds, right? So if we had one in the chamber, we'd be at 65 rounds. So as a truck gun, home defense gun, bug out gun, that makes perfect sense. This gun is blowback operated, so that way we have a barrel that is not coming in and out of battery. It is stationary, so it's gonna make it that much more easier to shoot and that much more accurate. Again, we have this polymer rail section and we have M-LOK all over the thing. So anything that you wanna put on there, lights, lasers, you name it, you're gonna be able to do that. Going down here to the muzzle, folks, right here we do have a threaded muzzle that comes with a thread protector, and this makes it a perfect host for what I think is the best 9mm suppressor out there, and this is the Thunder Beast Arms Fly 9. So we can thread that on. If you already have a suppressor, whatever else you got going on, if you want to put a muzzle brake, whatever you got going on, you can do that. And I love, folks, I'm telling you right now, this is by far the best 9mm suppressor on the market. It's ridiculously light, it's super quiet. And of course we can untwist this portion right there and put it into a K configuration. It's gonna be a little bit louder, but it's gonna be a little bit shorter. So it's already threaded, ready to go for any suppressors or muzzle brakes that you wanna put on there or any other muzzle devices that you wanna put on there. If we look right here, folks, I did forget, we do have a safety. All right, that is safe, this is fire. So we do have a safety right there. Without any accessories, without any magazines or anything else, the rifle itself only weighs 5 pounds. So 5 pounds, and then whatever we add as far as ammo, optics, or any other accessories that we're gonna add onto this, but very lightweight, very versatile. And folks, I think this is such a great package for recreational shooting. You know, teaching your kids how to shoot. We're gonna have very minimal recoil with this, teaching your wives, girlfriend, or anybody that's new to shooting where you don't want to freak them out with a high recoil gun to begin with. This is a great platform to learn with because we have that longer barrel, longer sight radius, the use of optics, and it's essentially a 9mm rifle. It's going to be fun and pleasant to shoot. So I think it's just a really cool package. And again, I wanted to hate it, but it proved me wrong. But I think for home defense, for recreational shooting, for teaching people to shoot, a truck gun, bug out gun, given its lightweight, compact. It's just a great gun with a lot of strengths that lend itself to a lot of different uses. So I think it's overall really cool. And by the way, folks, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe this entire package is $5.99. That's kind of hard to beat for a really cool and versatile gun like this. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take this to the range. It's actually gonna be in the morning, it's nighttime here. But I'm gonna take this out to the range. We're gonna run this hard. The client wanted me to zero it, but I'm gonna test it out, make sure it functions really well, both with and without a suppressor, because I think this is a really cool gun. I think it fills a lot of needs very inexpensively that people are looking for. Whether, again, it's home defense, a bug out gun, a truck gun, whatever it is, recreational shooting for the kids, for the wife. I think it's just does a lot of things, and hopefully it does it well, but I guess we'll find that out in the morning. So we'll see you guys out at the range. All right, folks, so we just finished zeroing this at 25 yards. This weapon is unsafe. We'll go ahead and clear it. Functioned perfectly, flawlessly, no issues whatsoever. This is the first group at 25 yards, second group, third group, fourth group, fifth group, we're gonna call that 0, 25 yards. Very easy to shoot. Everything worked really well. And you can see, folks, I mean, this thing groups really well. I got a little crazy over here, started rushing things, but again, these first 3 groups, extremely tight, and that's just with some, you know, cheap Full Metal Jacket, Remington Full Metal Jacket ammo, range ammo. So one thing that I did notice, if you are a long-necked weirdo like myself, I don't know if everybody's gonna have this problem, but when you're laying in the prone and you're up against this, let me go this side. When you're laying in the prone and you are laying up against this, the charging handle will come back and hit you, all right? Because this is kind of non-adjustable and it's fairly short for me, I'm way up on this thing. I have to basically kind of, when I'm laying in the prone, I have to kind of push my shoulder forward to brace against that. This did hit me, nothing hard, nothing crazy, but you feel it without a doubt. And it is definitely a distraction to say the least. So for taller guys, that may be a little bit of an issue. That is less of an issue shooting from a standing position. We have a lot more room. Hey folks, so I was just editing the video and I was watching this portion about the gripes that I had about the OEM stock. And so I did a little research and come to find out there is at least one aftermarket stock option out there. And this one is by Floyd's Customs. I'm not affiliated with them whatsoever, but they do make an aftermarket adjustable stock, and it's adjustable in the sense that you can set it to the length that you want, tighten it down. The other thing that I really like about this stock that I didn't really notice till later on after I was done shooting the video is on the OEM one, the sling attachment point is at the very bottom. Didn't like that whatsoever. On this one, we have sling attachment points on the sides where God intended your sling to be attached. So that's a much better option overall. And there may be many other aftermarket options out there available, probably definitely in the future for sure. So if you know of any, make sure you leave those down in the comments below for other people to see. Now, at the end of this video, I provide an overall summary of my thoughts and assessment of that carbine. And I also provide a numerical value rating, completely subjective. But I would actually bump that up a half a point, just knowing that there's some other stock options out there, given that was really my main complaint about that carbine. So take that for what it's worth. I thought that was important to throw in there. So I'll let you get back to the video. But when you're laying in the prone and you're laying on that gun, it is very easy for that to come back and hit you. But as we can see, folks, the accuracy on this is really good. All right, folks, so what we're gonna do now is we're actually gonna run this thing hard. We're going to make sure that it functions flawlessly, whether you're doing slow aim fire or you're kind of getting on the gas. And we're gonna start off running some just cheap range ammunition, some FMJ, some Remington FMJ that I have. But then, and folks, this is critical with any handgun or pistol caliber firearm, is you need to make sure that you're running that hard with whatever defensive ammunition that you're running through it. You know, there's lots of guns out there that just won't feed some of the hollow point and defensive ammunition out there. I have some ammunition that is often problematic for almost any pistol out there. I will show you what that is, and if it runs that, it'll pretty much run anything. All right, so let's go load up some mags and see what this thing can do. All right, folks, so we're gonna do a quick failure test on this, but the other thing that I wanna test on this particular weapon system, being that it's a fairly new system, but the idea behind this is that it's compatible with all the other M&P stuff out there. So I run a lot of different M&Ps. This one right here, I've been using for a couple years now. This is kind of my, everyday range gun, what I use for training. And then we have the M&P Competition, great gun as well. I haven't ran that much, but it works really well. But what we have here is some different magazines from these different platforms. So first of all, we have the extended mag that came with the FPC. This is the flush mag that came with the FPC. We'll test both of those out and just the overall cycling and reliability of that weapon system. But the other thing I wanted to test is, number one, right here I have some of the extended mags for the competition that we're gonna run through that. And then I use a lot of these ETS mags, folks. I really like these ETS mags for both my Glocks and my M&Ps. I've been using these for several years. You can see this one's probably 3 or 4 years old. I got this when they first came out with the M&P version of this. I'd already been running Glocks. I've never had a failure with these, and especially with Glocks. I really like these because these are slick and they're dimensionally just a little bit smaller. So when you're doing mag changes, these things just slip right out of that mag well and they don't get hung up like you see with the standard OEM mags. As well as you can get these in extended magazines. As a matter of fact, I was looking today for the ETS mags for M&Ps. You can get, this is a 21 round, you can get 30 round and 40 round. So if you're wanting extended mags for, especially for this weapon system, that's something that you can consider as long as they run well. So we're gonna test, again, the reliability of that with all these different magazines and the compatibility with some of the aftermarket products out there on the market. And of course, this guy, this is the most deadly of them all. Folks, what we have right here is a fully semi-automatic staple gun. You gotta know somebody to get one of these and have to have government approval for that. Anyways, let's get out there. We'll do some shooting and we'll see how these things run. All right, folks, so it's nice to have this kind of built-in internal storage, but it's a little weird, especially if you're holding the gun up straight or you got it up in your workspace, you're trying to get this out. It's a little odd, right? We're just lifting up on this tab. What I have found is if you point the muzzle down and then just let gravity kind of do its thing, it comes right out. So just be aware of that. And let's shoot this thing. Let's see how it goes. All right, folks, let's do it. Threat. Folks, I do like that right there. I like the fact that if I'm shooting, I'm going right to using the mags that I have on me for my M&P. That is nice. You know, if you knew you were carrying this as your primary weapon, whether you decide that's a good thing or not, but it is something that you obviously can do. And instead of having AR mags, you're carrying maybe multiple more of your M&P mags. So then you have a pistol, you have your rifle set up, and you can carry additional mags on you. Obviously, you're not gonna have that 30 round capacity, and you're not gonna have the overall distance capabilities or stopping power capabilities of 5.56 or barricade capabilities. But again, you know, if this is a backpack gun or a truck gun, this is a nice little package that you can have ready to go. And so far it's running great. But I really do like the fact that, you know, basically my carbine right now, those magazines are compatible with my pistol. So something to think about. So folks, what I just changed into was the extended mag that came with the M&P competition. So hopefully this one works well as well. All right. So far we haven't had any stoppages, folks. All right, folks, so the ATS mags do not work with this. The feed notch on the back of the magazine is much smaller here, and it's interfering with the bolt. The bolt on this is a little bit wider where it engages that first round compared to a slide on a gun. So what you're gonna definitely wanna do with the FPC is stick to the OEM mags for now. So hopefully they'll update that, because I really do like these mags in all the pistols. And again, those extended mags that they come with would be very handy with this particular platform. Unfortunately, doesn't work. That's what we're here for. All right, folks, so I got a few rounds left in this standard flush fit mag that came with this. We'll go ahead and shoot those real quick. They've been working fine. I don't know why it wouldn't work now. But then from there, what we're gonna do is we're gonna test some defensive ammunition that is often causes some problems with feeding. And if it'll feed that ammo, it'll feed pretty much anything. All right. All right, so far we've had no feeding issues. All right, folks, so what I have here is a magazine. We have Hydroshock and Spear G2 alternating. So one Hydroshock, one G2. G2 is infamous for not feeding, especially in smaller guns. And the reason for that is right on the inside of that is a rubberized plug. Not only are we dealing with a flatter nose that you're normally going to deal with when it comes to a hollow point, but this rubberized plug tends to jam into the feed ramp and cause friction. And there are a lot of guns out there, specifically I think of several of my M&P shields that you can't run this ammunition in because of that steep feed ramp. It just nosedives into that and gets stuck. But yet in that pistol, it'll run Hydroshock, it'll run many other really good defensive ammunition. As a matter of fact, this is the only ammunition that I've ever tested that wouldn't run in that shield. But anytime that I'm testing the pistol for function and reliability, I run some of this through there because it tells me everything that I need to know of how it's going to perform when we're dealing with any sort of jacketed hollow points and other defensive ammunition, because if it'll run this, pretty much run anything. All right, folks, so here we have a magazine that is full of the Hydroshock and the G2 that are alternating. We'll see how this runs. All right, ran the G2 just fine, no issues whatsoever. So looks like we're good. All right, folks, so the next thing that we're gonna do, just because I thought it'd be fun to nerd out a little bit, since we have the Garmin Zero, I've yet to test this shooting a pistol, by the way, so this will be a first as well, but this thing is just ridiculously user-friendly and it just doesn't miss shots. Of course, I say that, and now I'm going into this blind, probably miss some shots, but hopefully not. Anyways, so the real question is, you know, why do we want something like this versus just a pistol? Well, folks, if you don't know, number one, a pistol is much harder to shoot accurately. This definitely gives us some extended distance capabilities, much more accurate, easier to shoot, less recoil because we got more mass, we have it up against our shoulder. So this makes a lot of sense for a lot of different purposes. The other thing that it gives us is a lot more muzzle velocity, or at least significantly more muzzle velocity. So we should have a little bit more muzzle energy coming out of this. So there again, I think for home defense, even recreational shooting, and possibly even hunting for, you know, the right types of animals, or at least personal defense out in the woods, man, this thing makes a lot of sense. Truck gun, all those things that we've talked about already. So again, I love the fact that this thing is just so easy to carry. You know, we have this folded, and then when we have it unfolded, it just, I don't know, it's cool. It's easy to use. It's something kids can use, the wife can use, people that aren't used to shooting can use. But I am very curious to see what kind of differences in muzzle velocity that we get from a pistol shooting the exact same ammunition to this. And then the other thing that we're gonna test, folks, is the difference in muzzle velocity when we shoot this suppressed. And the other thing that we're gonna test is reliability if it's suppressed, how this handles being suppressed, and if we run into any sort of cycling or reliability issues with it there. All right, let's get after it. All right, so what I'll be shooting through both of these is just some Remington FMJ 115 grain, and we'll see what kind of velocities we get. All right, folks, so according to this, we need to have the gun 5 to 15 inches above the zero. I have it generally in the right direction. There, we'll align it just a little bit better. All right, never done this before, so we'll hit okay, and we'll shoot 5 rounds and see where that gets us. Analyzing the shot, that's shot 1, shot 2, shot 3, shot 4, shot 5. All right, got all shots. All right, we just did that together. All right, so the average velocity was 1185, standard deviation is 17.4, extreme spread is 48.2. Average was 1185. Average was 1185. Somebody remember that, write that down. I'll put it in the video. All right, so folks, so now we have 5 rounds of the exact same ammo. Matter of fact, I pulled it out of that mag. Let's see how this does. Let's see what we get here. I believe on the pistol, we were getting an average velocity, my memory serves, of 1185. This, we got average of 1345. So we're up almost 200 feet per second. Pretty interesting there. So yeah, it's about probably what I expected. Again, we have a 16-inch barrel versus a 5-inch barrel. So that makes sense. But that does illustrate the fact that, number one, you're getting a little bit more muzzle energy out of this, a little bit more stopping power, if you want to refer to it as that. So again, this is more capable than a pistol. It's gonna have more energy. You're gonna be able to shoot it at further distances. And folks, this is a lot easier to shoot accurately than a pistol all day, every day. All right, folks, so you've already been listening to this thing unsuppressed. I have not. So I'm gonna shoot 1 round just to hear what it sounds like, I guess that's proper. Hear what it sounds like without it being suppressed. Don't do this at home. Yeah, and then I wanna see what it sounds like suppressed. So let me shoot this once. I'm already half deaf as it is. All right, it's actually not bad. I wouldn't want to shoot a bunch without hearing protection, but I mean, it's definitely above hearing safe, but not too bad. All right, folks, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna attach the Thunder Beast Arms Fly 9 suppressor and see how that works. Now, as I've attached the Fly 9 now, I can tell you right now with my M&P or any other pistol, this thing is super pleasant on the ears. It is, I don't know if it's exactly hearing safe, but you can definitely shoot it and you don't feel the pressure that you normally feel with a very loud, I don't know what it's even rated for, but I can tell you for most 9mm ammunition, it is very easy to shoot, very pleasant to shoot. One thing that you're never gonna get rid of if you're shooting supersonic ammo is that sonic crack, which can be damaging to your ears. So again, just keep that in mind. But I'll tell you, this thing, I love the suppressor. It's ridiculously light. Again, we can break this down, it's modular. You can go from K configuration to this longer one. I prefer the longer one. It's so light that I really don't notice the difference. It's all titanium. Anyways, just a great suppressor. By far the best pistol suppressor that I have ever shot. All right, since we did get a velocity test with it unsuppressed, why not? We might as well get one with it suppressed. I think it was like 1345 or something like that. Let's see what it sounds like suppressed, and then let's see what kind of velocities we're getting out of this thing. All right. And one thing that I thought was cool about this is, you know, when I put that suppressor on, I went ahead and looked down the bore and did a quick bore check to make sure we're clear and everything looked good. And obviously when you can break the rifle in half at the barrel, it's easy to do that as well. So another thing to think about. All right, so we're at, average was 1305 after 5 shots, which was less than it unsuppressed. That's a little odd to me. And now let's run the rest of these pretty hard. All right, so suppressed, we're having no issues. So, all right, so we have a brand new rifle. We now have over 100 rounds between zeroing and what we've done out here. Let's do a final summary. There's some other things that I noticed that I want to point out, as well as my overall opinion of this rifle and different features that it has. All right, folks, so that was actually a lot of fun. And if you like content like this, make sure you like, subscribe, throw a comment down below, share this, you know, all those good things. And I will also tell you, if you support and defend the Second Amendment, or even the First Amendment for that matter, folks, stop watching YouTube. Go to watch all of our content over on Rumble. We're gonna stay on YouTube so that we can continue to get that message out. YouTube is not a friend of the First or Second Amendment. You know, just stop supporting this platform that continues to censor 2A content or anything that isn't supporting their left-wing agenda. So I'll get off my soapbox there. But with that being said, also make sure you join us on Wednesdays. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, we have our live Dangerous Liberty podcast. We talk about guns, gear, training, politics. We have special guests on all the time, and it's live, and you get to interact with us. You get to ask questions. We read your comments, and it's a lot of fun. We keep it light, and we just have a good time with that. All right, so just like I said earlier, when I first opened this, the first thing I thought was Kel-Tec, and I did not like this thing at all. As I started looking at the features, and definitely after today, folks, I actually really like this little carbine. It is a lot of fun. It's very accurate. So far, it's reliable. We shot a little over 100 rounds through it. That is by no means a long-term review, but so far, the performance has been great. Obviously, we found out that the ETS mags don't work in this, but this is why we test. We need to test our ammo, we need to test our gear, and make sure that we know exactly what's going on with it. But I gotta tell you, you know, I think the value is there. The other thing I wanted to point out, folks, is this case. Some things I really like about this case. Inside here, we do have some kind of obligatory and extraneous items like your gun lock and, you know, all the stuff that has to come with it. And then of course our grips, different grip sizes back here. It comes with 1, 2, 3 different grip sizes in there, along with the one that's on there. I think that's just a standard medium. And then we have another pouch up here that has a shoulder strap. Almost all this stuff we can take out. Once we figure out the grip size, we can take out. And folks, what you have right here is the ability to load out additional mags, but more importantly, you have the ability to keep all your trauma kit. Folks, make sure that you guys are keeping an IFAC tourniquet, pressure bandages, all those things. And if you haven't taken a traumatic injury response course or a TCCC course or some sort of accredited course through a company like ours, folks, you gotta do that. And especially if you're talking about a bug out bag or you're wanting to defend yourself, you know, you are so much more likely to use medical gear and training to save a life than you will a firearm. And if you're carrying this, make sure you're carrying the medical gear as well, and make sure you have the training. Don't just go out and buy the medical gear, that's not enough. You gotta get some good training. You're better off to have the training and not the gear than have the gear and not the training. And you know, I'm a gun guy through and through, but folks, I can't stress that enough. The most important training that you can get is advanced medical training that is dealing with traumatic injury and that is actually to save a life, not some first aid where you're learning to, you know, bandage up boo-boos. That's not what we're talking about. Anyways, all right, so back to the gun. The other thing about this pouch, I don't really like, they're not bad, but I don't really like the way that these strap in here. You guys can see this, hopefully, is we got these loops that you got to loop around. But, you know, it is what it is. Oh, look at this, folks. I didn't realize this. This is Velcro, so you can take that off. You can reposition them and maybe even put something else in there a little bit differently. The other thing that I kind of don't like about this bag is that when you do zip it up, you only have a carrying handle at the top, so you'd be carrying it around this configuration. With that being said, you know, as useful as this bag potentially could be, what's great about the size of this gun is that you can put it in any sort of bag, even down to a sling bag or a small backpack or some other type of nondescript, non-tactical looking bag, so that you can carry this and maintain a low profile. That's what I really like about this. Folks, overall, I think this is a great system. And folks, one thing I can't stress that it still kind of blows my mind a little bit is the value that you get out of this. You get all of this, obviously not the optic and not the backup sights, but the firearm itself, this carrying bag, and 3 magazines, 2 of which are extended for $5.99. That's what you're gonna pay for a pistol. So they obviously have this discounted, and I think there's a lot of value, and this gun fills a lot of niches that are kind of difficult to fill. Again, a truck gun, backpack gun, bug out gun, whatever you got. And folks, I'm telling you right now, I'm buying at least 2 of these for my boys. I think this is a great firearm to learn on. You're shooting 9mm, so it's cheap, a little more expensive than 22, but it's a little bit more, this is where you kind of graduate from a 22 till you start shooting this. And then you put a suppressor on it. It's just super pleasant to shoot. And you can get out there and have some fun with it. So overall, folks, I think, you know, if I was to rate this gun out of 10, I say an easy 8.5. We would see kind of what the longevity is of this gun and to do a long-term review. But I think overall the value, the overall fit and finish, and as far as some features that I don't like about this gun is, you know, this polymer forend. There's probably nothing wrong with it. It probably is more than good enough. If you start putting aluminum up there, you're probably gonna run into some weight issues or even some compatibility issues. I'm sure this is proprietary. Don't quote me on that, but I bet it is. And I'm sure the durability of it is more than good enough. I do like the onboard storage there. Once you get used to that, it's actually more usable than I thought it was gonna be. I don't like the charging handle position, and I do wish the buttstock was a little bit more adjustable or had some adjustment forward and back for taller guys. But for most people, 90% of the population, if you're under 6 foot, this is gonna fit you well. It's so light that even smaller kids, I'd say, you know, down to 7 or 8 years old are gonna be able to handle this just fine. Anyways, I think it's a lot of value and a lot of performance in a very small package. And yeah, man, you know, it's one of those things that kind of creeped up on me. I was expecting to hate it, and you know, I kind of love it. Well, all right, folks, I hope you found that helpful and informative, maybe even a little bit entertaining. I'm sure I left some things out. So if you have any questions that I didn't address, make sure you leave those down in the comments below, and I will get to those as soon as possible. And folks, while guns and gear is great, what we're really about is training, so make sure you go to ParamountTactical.com. Go check out our upcoming training schedule. We'd love to have you out. We'd love to meet you in person. We offer long-range courses, tactical carbine, handgun. All of our courses are basic through advanced. I don't care if you've never touched a firearm or, you know, you are an advanced competitive shooter, we have something for you. Also our medical courses, driving courses, you hear them driving right now over on the tracks that we use. And we have this beautiful training facility. This is kind of the back alley range back here where we do ballistic shoots on cars and stuff like that. But we are on a beautiful training facility here at Summit Point Training Facility in Summit Point, West Virginia. 800 acres, multiple ranges, lots of fun, CQB courses, night courses, you name it, we got you covered. Also, for all your gear needs, make sure you go to ParamountTactical.com. We only carry gear on our website that we've personally tested and we believe in, so you're gonna get great gear, but probably more important than that is I promise you, you're gonna get great customer service. If you have questions, technical questions, you feel like it's a stupid question, whatever it is, make sure you give us a call or shoot us an email. All our contact information is on our website, ParamountTactical.com. But until next time, stay armed, stay ready. We'll talk to you soon.